Very early on in 2020, what feels like years ago at this point because of everything that's been going on, Susanne Sundfør dropped an EP. I think it is a soundtrack for some other form of media. I'm not entirely sure if it's a TV show or a film. I don't really know the original content that it came from, but with it being Susanne Sundfør, I had to check it out because I am such a big fan of her music anyway. One of those things that completely slipped by me, and then later on in the year I've come to realize that this is the thing that came out, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not getting to it a bit sooner, because again, I'm such a big fan that it's kind of weird for me to not really be as on the ball with something that gets released like this. For those of you who have kept up with my channel for quite a while now, you may remember me being such a big fan of music for people in trouble. That came out in 2017. I'm also a huge fan of 10 Love Songs, even some of her earlier works as well from 2008, and her 2011 album The Brothel I still think are really strong releases. And generally she has at least a few songs per album that I just think are magnificent. Even on the albums that underwhelm me a little bit, she really does kill it with just those individual tracks every so often. She appeared on my decade list for songs and albums. I'm a fan. I don't know if I'd go as far as saying that she's underrated, because that word kind of gets thrown around a little bit, but she might be a little bit overlooked because I think there's an audience for 10 Love Songs specifically that hasn't quite laid their ears on it just yet, and it's kind of weird to not see that album being in like the best of pop albums lists for the 2010s, because to be honest I think it might have been like the best pop album of the 2010s. This new EP though is offering something a little bit different. Not different for her because she has done this piano based music before. On her earliest work she did mostly this kind of stuff, then she went into a bit more of electronic stuff, but then back in 2017 for the album Music for People in Trouble, this was the one that went more basic and stripped back to the piano stuff, and she's really good at doing that kind of stuff, to be honest. Like, she has such a great voice for this type of music. The angelic vocals that you get on a track like Lice, oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then when you pair it with the piano, it's honestly quite haunting. There's this weird haunting atmosphere that comes through with it, that, you know, kind of makes you feel like you're listening to some church type music in like a really, really like dark evening, and you're just like coming across an abandoned church. It's that kind of feel. I like on the opening track as well how she opts for more faint vocals, and she's essentially just humming across this piano instrumental, and it actually works really effectively. Like, that's what I like about her so well, because she can just kind of use very little but have a very effective tone to her sound that is kind of unmatched, really. Honestly, if you're like really into some of Julia Holter's work, like Loud City Song, for example, or Ecstasis, those albums, I would say Susanne Sundfør here is kind of hitting that same atmosphere and tone that she was on those earlier albums from Julia. One of the main reasons I had to do a review for this though was the track When the Lord. This is the one track that I think is the most conventional, because it's less about setting an atmosphere here, and we get a full track with Susanne Sundfør singing across the whole thing, and wow, oh wow, this is really starting to hit me. Like, I've been listening to this EP, for a few days now, and each time I hit this track, it gets better and better each time. Ooh, I don't know if I want to go quite as far as saying it's amongst like one of her best songs, because that's a hard achievement for an artist like this who has so many fantastic songs spanning over like 10 to 15 years, but wow, this song friggin' hits. The way she's like, wake me, my darling. The sweeping strings come through, and then she's like, when the Lord. Oh, what a song. It's so dramatic and over the top, but my god, it hits. Like, the way she's singing on this track, that chorus is glorious. Wow. And I do think the EP is pretty good overall, but like, if you had 5 tracks in a row that were like this, Jesus Christ, this would have been EP of the year, no question. But I do think the issue comes with the fact that some of the tracks just kind of feel like ideas, like the last track especially. It kind of just ends abruptly. I don't really know if it needed to be as short as this. You could flesh it out further, honestly, and extend it and take it somewhere else, because what it is for the first few minutes is really lovely. That really is the Achilles heel of the EP though. You can sort of see the vision and the potential some of these tracks could have had. But I think with it being a soundtrack, like I say, I don't know the source material where it originally came from, but perhaps she was only really given just like, you know, oh, we just need this and that'll be fine. And then she just went ahead with that and kept it as it was. But, you know, it is an EP at the end of the day. It's not like this is a full album, but I think if you took some of these ideas and, like I say, stretched them further, this would have been magnificent. For what it is though, it's lovely. It's a lovely listen, and it really just is a nice way for me to say, look, if you're watching this review and you've never really listened to her music before, please go back and check those ones out, because she deserves the attention, really. She really deserves way more attention, actually. But this is pretty good as well, so check this out. I would definitely recommend, especially When the Lord. That is the one track here that is like the centerpiece of this EP that overrides really everything else. It is wonderful. So let me know your thoughts if you've listened to it, and tell me your favorite Susanne album if you've heard any of them. But if you haven't, definitely go check them out. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day. Tell me what I should review next. Goodbye.